In MadDevs, we say that we do custom software development as an overall. We do a lot of things there. So we teach our customers to follow the processes the same way our development teams do. We teach them the importance of following the development processes, such as like writing documentation, test coverage, and building the proper infrastructure if they want their product to be scalable and reliable and all of that kind of stuff we do.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Alla Klimenko. She's the CEO and co-founder at MadDevs. Alla, welcome to the show.
Thanks for inviting me. Hi. It's great to be here.
Yeah, great to have you. So Alla, why don't you start and tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am CEO, as you said, I'm CEO and co-founder at MadDevs. I'm in tech, in fact, for whole my life since the very childhood. That's because my father was all about repairing things, about electronics. We had all of those devices, screwdrivers, and everything at home. So I grew in that environment, and I've never thought that I can have another occupation rather than somewhere near in tech. So when I grew up, I went to as a software engineer in the university. Then I started to be assistant of the team lead in my first company. Then grew up as a project manager, head of customization department. Then it came out that I'm better at management and all of that stuff and organizing stuff rather than at coding. So my last code was somewhere in university too. And since then I've managed a couple of companies in Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan. One of them was even a digital agency. But then at some point we, with my business partners, decided to start our own company. And here we are, almost 7 years at MadDevs.
Wow. That's fantastic. So tell me a little bit more about, what MadDevs does.
In MadDevs, we say that we do custom software development as an overall, but along with that, we do a lot of things there. So we teach our customers to follow the processes the same way our development teams do. We teach them the importance of following the development processes, such as like writing documentation, test coverage, and building the proper infrastructure if they want their product to be scalable and reliable and all of that kind of stuff. We do software audits and infrastructure audits. We also help, in many cases, we do consult our clients when they already have their own team and just need some advice, because we have a lot of tech expertise with more than 140 people in our company now. So yeah, and in very, very different fields. We have this vibe in our company when our engineers, when they see the tasks that they've never done before, something that challenging for what they will need to make a research, to learn something new, it's when their eyes start like sparkling, like, hey, it's a little bit scary, but it's so challenging, let's do that. So and because of that, we have done so many different things. And we love to share what we know. So when anybody comes and say, hey guys, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? We try to share our knowledge because, like, I don't know, probably my father told me that he has always been a man who did a lot of search and research, uh, and everybody called him like for advice. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And he loved sharing what he knew. So yeah, and we do the same in the company, in our company.
That's fantastic. So it sounds like there's a lot of different services that MadDevs offers to support its clients.
Yeah, we do, like, we call it full cycle development, but in every development, like code writing is about maybe 20%. The rest is planning, testing, developing architecture, developing design, customer journeys, and making research of what people need, if we are actually doing the valid thing and all of that stuff, preparing requirements, finding out what they are actually trying to solve. Because in many cases, it's very, very different from what they say they want to do.
Yeah, right. It always seems to kind of go that way, that people think they kind of are on the right path for things, but obviously with your experience, that it may be a different thing. Do you think, kind of with your background in IT and kind of software development, do you think that that's one of the ways that you and your co-founders have been able to really separate MadDevs from its competition?
Well, what separates us, and we see that a lot because we have a lot of partnered companies. Why we do have a lot of partnering companies is because we've always thought that there are so many projects in the world, and you probably know that in recent years, there was always a lack of engineers everywhere. So, and the competition just made the salaries grow, and it didn't help because so we decided that there is work for everyone, and instead of competing and hunting people from each other, we should be partnering with each other and work together and help each other grow. That's why we have a huge network of companies that we are friends with instead of like making enemies. But from all of that cooperation and from every other company that our clients worked with before us, what we see in most cases is that even if companies say they work transparently, in fact, they aren't. But for us, it's one of the main points in all of our work. So the code that we write belongs to our client from the first day, like from the very beginning. Everything, all results of our work also are, and that's why we open everything on every stage of what we're doing. So we're like, we give access to our clients to our code commits, to our stand-up environment, to our task tracker, and moreover, we make them involved in our everyday process to ensure we are doing what they really need to be done. So, and to ensure that the cycle of providing feedback is as short as possible. So, and also we think that transparency allows us to build trust with our clients, and our main purpose is actually to help them grow and achieve their goals. And we are oriented on long-term projects. So we have clients who are like, we've worked with them for 4, 5, 6 years and going on working. And that's because they trust us, they want to recommend us, they know what we do, they like it. And I don't know, for example, one of our clients, we are so close that every other request he has related to IT, even if it's related to digital marketing, if it's related to a completely different stack other than we have, just like anything, he still comes to us and writes like, Alla, do you happen to have this expertise too? And I always try to help him. And yeah, it's the way we work. And I think it really makes us stand out in overall competition. Yeah.
Do you see trends kind of in talking about your clients? Do you see trends in, size companies, or different kind of, niches that Mad Devs tends to work better with or work more often with?
Well, for business sizes, we do have all of them. I mean, we work a lot with startups. We work a lot with small and medium businesses and enterprises, and it all depends on rather not the company size, but if they share values that we share. So, like, because our approach to software development is rather related to quality. For the quality to be high, you have to invest in that. And not everybody is ready to do that. So whether a startup founder or an IT director or a CDO or anywhere else building their in any company has their goals to build a reliable solution. They when we talk with them, they see what we are, what our approaches are, and yeah, that's why that's how we find what we connect with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we don't select companies from their size, but they have to have some funding to be able to invest in the quality.
Yeah.
Otherwise, so we call it maturity of the clients a little bit.
Yeah.
Because and about industries, about verticals, it's more like we work a lot with blockchain and crypto in fintech. We've built a few products in transportation area, a little bit in biotech, and like even in content streaming. Like as I said before, we can do a lot of things. For example, one of our most unexpected customers is First World War veterans center of Australian veterans that is located somewhere near Paris.
Wow.
And they have a huge memorial there, but it's full interactive. There's a cemetery, and they have a lot of tech part, a lot of devices there, most of which is hardware with the software. And our team goes every year. They go to France for 3-4 weeks while the center is closed for maintenance, and actually help them to deploy all changes that we've made throughout the year and should renew their software. Yeah, it's great.
Holy cow, that's incredible. So it sounds like, the support that Mad Devs is able to provide is really, it's a wide range of different services to really kind of best meet what that client needs in that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Just because, well, our DevOps engineers like to say that don't tell us what to do. Tell us where you want to be, or like what should be the result, like where you want to come. We are the ones who choose the best way to go there, like to get there. And yeah, it's all about us because we also help a lot. For example, now we, at some point, we found out that a lot of our work actually takes also, it includes also configuring the environment, like configuring test trackers, configuring flows, and all of that stuff, and even financial instruments. And as one of the largest parts also related to infrastructure building and automation of everything, like of all pipelines and everything. So we also help with that part and consult or do by ourselves for all kinds. So it's a huge part related to any type of IT work, almost any.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's really fascinating. So, kind of, you've been with Mad Devs. You're the CEO and the co-founder. Talk to me a little bit about the growth that Mad Devs has seen over the last 7 years.
Mhm. When we started, we were just 12 people. Well, actually, before we started building Mad Devs, all of our team, all those 12 people, were a development team in a holding company. We had an employer, and we've built a few great services there too. But at some point, we finally thought that um, our internal culture in the development team was very, very different from the ones our employer had, because they were like more in financial field, more about not even business, but very, very different from us. So we thought that why don't we try to build our own company and do within that company everything the way we think is right. So we separated all of uh, those developers to come to Mad Devs, and our former employer became our first outsourcing client, and we continued working for like 3 more years, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and from there on, we started together other projects, and yeah, now we have over 140 people, closer to 150, most of which are engineers, and growing more.
And growing every day. That's fantastic. So, Alla, is kind of in your role as CEO, not necessarily with Mad Devs, but do you hear a lot of common misconceptions or things that are wrong about the industry often?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there are a lot of misconceptions, but I think the one um, that really that we have to translate, like tell to our potential customers most frequently, is the one that they think that the product development ends when it is released.
Hmm.
So the thing is, in fact, there is very, very narrow, very little, very small amount of products
Yeah.
that really can be finished after release.
Yeah.
Like if you are automating some definite business process, or if you want to develop very, very simple mobile app to just cover a limited set of functions for internal use or something like that. But for most cases, especially nowadays, when a huge part of the business is the product they develop, and it is primarily related to business itself, to like either even if it's for internal use or for external use with real users, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But while the business grows, the product development cannot stop. it just can't stop. So like, because while you are growing, your business processes are changing. While you are growing, while you're acquiring more customers, more end users, they want more and more features. And it's an endless iterative development. So the only business that doesn't require the product it uses on everyday basis to evolve, to improve, to add new features is the dead business.
Really?
So, and that's the thing that a lot of potential customers who try to make a digital transformation of their business to go online, it's one of the things many of them don't think about. And yeah, so, and when you tell them that, they don't always believe you.
Yeah.
They're beginning, but then at some point they come and say, yeah, now I understand. Because, well, in fact, they already start to understand that in the process of development. Because even if they had their scope very well defined, very explicitly written, during the process of development, they find out that, oh, we also want this thing. And we also think thoroughly, and we want this to be done differently. And we also forgot one more thing. And this one, we don't need it anymore because our flow changed. So they start to update their understanding of how things work. But sometimes it's just very, very painful for them because a lot of them spend their own money for this development. And if they don't have enough to further improve that, they end up, in many cases, they end up with unfinished piece of work that is not very usable for them, unfortunately.
That's really interesting. And I think that's a good point to note too, specifically in your role. It sounds like I'm sure you see that very often, kind of having to have those conversations with clients, kind of explaining the process, kind of best practices and all of that. So if people wanted to learn more about Mad Devs, where would they go to learn more?
Well, we have a lot of, actually, we have a great marketing team, which is not very often happening in the world as far as I see. But our marketing team is great. And what they do to our website and help engage our developers to create a lot of content that can be useful for both engineers and for our potential customers. So one of the main points of contact of finding us is, of course, our website, which is maddevs.io. And we are also present in every social media. We even create some content while streaming. I guess we even have a TikTok account, but I'm not sure.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So Alla, this has been a great conversation. As we start to wrap this up, is there anything that you want to leave our listeners with, either about the industry, about Mad Devs, about your role as a CEO? Anything you want to leave our listeners with?
Well, maybe I want to wish them because in our changing world, everything is sooner or later becomes connected to tech part. Everything is so bound to the software. Everything is it becomes very hard to imagine our life without using our devices and everything. I wish every listener of your podcast, if they haven't started transforming their business, bringing it online, automating the processes they have, they should do that as soon as possible. Otherwise, they will not be able to win the competition that is so so high and becomes even higher. And IT and software and development is what helps us get this boost for every business.
Yeah.
For practically every business.
Yeah. And wanting to stay kind of with the times too, I imagine, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Alla, this has been a fantastic conversation. I appreciate you breaking down all things Mad Devs, talking about the industry, kind of your experience and things that you've seen over the years. And I really just appreciate you being on Business Ninjas today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I hope it was useful, but it was definitely useful for me. I mean, really good.
It was a great podcast. I appreciate you being on.
Thank you. Bye-bye.